ZFM Stereo Talk.
Honorable Nduna, it is always a pleasure having you on ZFM. Have we seen a corresponding reduction in carnage, in road accidents, since there seems to have been this escalation in the police presence on the roads?
At 5 deaths per day in Zimbabwe, we are far away from the global average of 3 deaths per day. So I would imagine with the type of infrastructure that we've got, we are just making it worse for the motoring public.
The talk that gets you talking. Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m.
The platform. Step up and speak out.
It's a good evening. You're tuned into ZFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town. The name is Kwirirayi on this episode of the platform on this Wednesday, the 14th of March, 2018. And just before I tell you what you're talking about today, let me just remind you of some of the frequencies you can listen to us on. Cholocha 97.9, Kamativi Wange 105.1, Kariba 105.3, Victoria Falls 106.5, Mashingo 96.1, Nyanga 98.2, let's look at Mutare 95.4, Bulawayo, my hometown 106.7, and we're broadcasting out of Harare where our frequency is 106.4. Listen to us over the internet across the world, www.zfmstereo.co.zw, and also you can listen to us via the TuneIn app, which is available for free. Just download it via your favorite app store, and then you can listen to us live and in charge, of course, anywhere across the world. And just get in touch with us on Twitter at ZFM Stereo, on Facebook, facebook.com/ZFM Stereo, and then on Instagram at ZFM Stereo ZW. Listen to all our podcasts, of course. Just go to our YouTube account and YouTube page and just look for ZFM Stereo, and you'll be able to listen to our talk shows and things of that nature. To WhatsApp us, our WhatsApp number is 0731 168 045. Tonight I've got a treat for you because today President Emmerson Mnangagwa launched the National ICT Policy and the Zimbabwe ICT Innovation Drive in Harare. The event was attended by a wide range of innovators and tech enthusiasts as well as key players in the ICT industry. Tonight, I will play you 2 speeches from the event, one of them from the Minister of Information Communication Technology, Supa Mandiwanzira, and the second from President Mnangagwa. Now, between the speeches, I want to read your messages, so you can send through your thoughts to me on 0731 168 045. So throughout after the first speech, I'll be reading your messages. Send them to me on WhatsApp on 0731 168 045, just to gauge your reaction to the speeches as they were presented. You tune into ZFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town.
Let me thank the Permanent Secretary for the very flowery words and remarks about me, but the running end up and Berry may actually get me fired. I no longer run businesses, I'm now working just for the government. But I appreciate your introduction. And there are only 2 occasions when people say some great, nice things about you in your life. First, have the opportunity to be introduced, they say nice things about you. Second is when you die. That's when they say nice things about you. So I'm privileged to have been introduced and the great things that you have said. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recognize our special guest of honor this morning, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President E.D. Mnangagwa. Also allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize the Minister of State for Harare Metropolitan Province, Honorable Miriam Chikukwa, who is here, the Minister of Sport and Recreation, Honorable Kazembe, who is here, other government ministers who may have joined us this morning. Also allow me to recognize the Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, represented here by his Deputy Colonel Katsande. I want to recognize members of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on ICTs who are all here. Thank you for joining us. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of ICT and Cybersecurity, Dr. Engineer Sam Kundishora. Let me also recognize the Chairman of the Board of POTRAS, the Postal and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, Mr. Ozias Mvute, who's here, the DG, Dr. Machengete, who has been here, as well as other board members who are here. I want to recognize the captains of industry who are here, particularly the chairperson of the Telecommunications Operators Association of Zimbabwe, Mrs. Angeline Vere, who, on a normal day is the chief executive of Telecel. I want to particularly recognize in a very special way the innovators who are here, who have made us have this gathering. And I want, before I go further, to give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I also want to recognize the students who are busy in the laboratories of education, coming up with more and more innovations. Let me recognize all invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I'm aware that at 9 o'clock this morning, you are supposed to be chairing the ZANU-PF Politburo at the ZANU-PF headquarters. And I think that if we check our watches, the President is not supposed to be here, but he is here with us. So we really must be thankful for the honor that he has given us to be with us. Your Excellency, the young people that are here know you as a champion of our independence, a dedicated and committed cadre to the development of our country who has served well in many government positions. But they are not so much fond of history. They are fond of today and tomorrow. The young students who are here have been waiting for this day. They are looking for hope. They're looking for opportunity. And they are so thankful to you that you have led us and directed us to create this innovation fund that is going to make their dreams come true. If I'm speaking on behalf of all the innovators and students who are in this room, let me hear you say ED. So these young people who are here, Your Excellency, have been looking for people who talk, but who walk the talk. And since your inauguration on the 24th of November last year, Your Excellency, the students are excited that they have a leader that they can believe in. A leader who talks, but also a leader who takes action. An implementing president. And they are proud of that. And with that, they support you wholeheartedly. Your Excellency, we are here for a double launch. To launch the ICT Innovation Drive, which pretty much is a fund, but also to launch the ICT policy, which runs until the year 2020. For those of you who are not familiar with the Innovation Drive, it is aimed at identifying, supporting, and capacitating ICT innovators in the country in order to develop their ideas into bankable solutions for Zimbabwe and the global market. The main objectives of the fund are to increase ICT research and development, as well as ICT uptake by young innovators and research institutions in Zimbabwe. To increase the total number of homegrown ICT applications and create employment. To promote a culture of ICT innovation and development among Zimbabwean youths. To establish innovation hubs within the country and to provide business and technopreneurial training and incubation services to young innovators within our country. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as a ministry, we are very proud to be rolling out this project because ICTs and innovation are a major driver to development. New ICTs overcome the barriers of distance and time and significantly improve the accessibility of information and knowledge. ICTs have changed the way people communicate, the way people learn, and the way people conduct business. Through ICTs, sharing of information and knowledge quickly and effectively becomes feasible and acts as a key element in achieving development goals and mitigating the impact of unforeseen events such as natural disasters and disease outbreaks. It is important to note that the use of ICT innovation enhances the productivity of companies while increasing their overall efficiency and thus raising economic growth. Moreover, greater use of ICTs may contribute to network effects such as lower transaction costs, higher productivity, more knowledge to workers, more rapid innovation, which will improve the overall efficiency of our economy, which I know, Your Excellency, is at the center of your efforts as our President. If properly harnessed, ICTs have the power to transform the fortunes of our country's economy into a digital powerhouse. I must tell you, Your Excellency, 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to attend the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. One of the persons that was billed to speak at this Congress was Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is a billionaire behind the formation of Facebook. This was an opportunity for me to meet the founder of this social media powerhouse. So I went to the presentation by Mark Zuckerberg. It was ordinary, Your Excellency. I came back so convinced that there's nothing special about kids from Silicon Valley or from Bangalore in India, that they are so different from our own kids from Harare Institute of Technology, National University of Science and Technology, the University of Zimbabwe, or anywhere else. And what they have done in Silicon Valley, we can do the same, if not better. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a well-crafted national ICT policy, which is in touch with technological developments in the country and the world at large, is therefore a prerequisite if we are to take full advantage of the benefits offered by ICT to enhance our economic growth and develop our country. Allow me, therefore, to thank you and congratulate you for a job well done. All those who took part in the review of the National ICT Policy, its validation, and the corroboration of information which was gathered during the outreach program, which is now contained in the final document that His Excellency will officially launch this morning. The National ICT Policy Framework is expected to propel the transformation of the country in line with the aspirations of the new government that you lead, Your Excellency. These aspirations include the growth in the use of ICTs in all spheres of our life by creating an enabling environment for initiatives in e-government, e-commerce, e-employment, e-learning, e-health, e-agriculture, and many other areas where ICTs can be deployed. The need for inclusivity in the use of ICTs cannot be overemphasized. To that end, the ICT policy clearly spells out the need to bridge the digital divide by placing more emphasis on the provision of broadband for all in a manner that ensures sustainability of the sector. We have deliberately made it a point in the policy, Your Excellency, that for every dollar that the network spends in urban areas, a certain portion must be guaranteed to be spent in the rural areas concurrently. The policy review process also made several changes to the regulatory framework and institutional mechanisms within the sector. The new policy framework identifies various players and clearly spells out their respective roles. And it is hoped that if these roles are executed conscientiously, Zimbabwe will achieve its enunciated vision of emerging as a united, strong, democratic, prosperous nation with a high quality of life by the year 2030. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for quick and sustainable adoption of ICTs, governments the world over have set up technological hubs with the most famous being Silicon Valley that I've mentioned in the United States, where groundbreaking innovations have been deployed or developed. Innovation hubs in China, in Japan, in India, and in Malaysia have also done wonders on the innovation front. For there to be meaningful progress with regards to the development of these tech hubs and innovations in general, there is need for meaningful funding to provide the platform for innovators to flourish. This is why this fund will particularly support the establishment of these hubs. This fund will support the universities that focus on technology with grants to develop specific applications that respond to the needs of Zimbabweans, be it in agriculture, be it in mining, or other spheres of our lives. So, Your Excellency, the fund which we call the Innovation Drive that we launched this morning, and the ICT policy work hand in hand to take our country to new levels of ICT development, ICT penetration, and more importantly, to ensure that our people are not left out in the information superhighway. I'd like, Your Excellency, with these few remarks, to take this opportunity to congratulate the 6 innovators who will receive funding for their innovations today. I would also like to thank those that submitted, and I'm very glad with the speech by Dr. Machengete that don't lose hope. You're going to be advised on how to tweak your presentation so that they can receive funding. On a monthly basis, there is going to be funding being dispersed to successful innovations. And there are many of them we have seen in Bulawayo, we have seen in Harare, we have seen in Mutare and many parts of our country. We have seen a lot even from our universities and our colleges. And all those that have the potential to be commercially successful will be supported. I'm grateful, Your Excellency, for the support that this innovation drive has received from all telecommunication operators in our country. They have agreed that they contribute 1% of their revenues into this fund, and they have also agreed that the innovations that are commercially viable will sit on their platforms and they will be downloaded from their platforms for a fee, therefore making money for them as operators, but more importantly for the innovators, which has been one of the problems that they don't have a market when they develop their innovations. So we're grateful for that support, and can we continue to work together to develop our industry? I thank you. During my old days, I also used to be an MC. And part of the job of the MC is to also introduce. But in this life, I'm the Minister of ICT and Cybersecurity, and only I can introduce my president. I have already recognized everybody who's here, so allow me to say all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to have been given this respectable task of introducing to you our guest of honor, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. His Excellency, the President, is an accomplished entrepreneur, a scholar, a lawyer, and a cadre of the liberation struggle, the struggle which brought our political independence. He is an esteemed leader who is passionate about achieving sustainable economic development, to see the elimination of hunger, poverty, the eradication as well of poverty, and as well as fostering human development. I was telling colleagues that I used to be in the previous cabinet, and I'm now in the new dispensation cabinet, Masambasia. His aspirations are for the information communications technologies to play an ancillary role to economic growth through development of ICT software that enhances and simplifies our daily administrative tasks and procedures. His vision is for our great nation to achieve middle-income economy by 2030 with decent jobs, a country which is free from poverty and all forms of corruption. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor has over the years supported the ICT sector through the enunciation of various measures that has to be put in place to develop the sector so that it can meaningfully contribute to economic development. In 2015, he officiated at the Innovation Africa Digital IAD Summit that was held in Victoria Falls in April of that year under the theme Affordable Access. On the 1st of June 2016, he officiated at the meeting of SADC ministers responsible for postal and courier services. Furthermore, in the same year, on 14 October 2016, he presided over the launch of a telecom degree program at the Tel One Center for Learning. There's no doubt he has ICTs at heart. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is a clear testimony of his passion and dream for the ICT sector to innovate, create and develop viable solutions to ease the doing of business across all sectors of our economy. He has been in government since 1980. Over the years, he has held a wide array of portfolios. This is again a clear demonstration of his proven leadership acumen, knowledge, expertise, and experience. He has previously served as the Minister for National Security, Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Speaker of Parliament, Minister of Rural Housing and Social Amenities, and Minister of Defense. He previously served as Vice President and Second Secretary of the ruling ZANU-PF party. Lately, he led a very successful special program on maize production for import substitution, widely known as Command Agriculture. Before his ascendancy to the presidency, he previously chaired the Cabinet Committee on Food Security and Nutrition, which saw the country achieving a bumper harvest in the 2016-2017 summer cropping season. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor is acutely aware of the role of ICT in spearheading research and development, as well as the promotion of human capital development to provide the requisite skills for our industry and commerce, as well as society at large. With this short narrative about our esteemed guest of honor, it is now my singular honor and privilege to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa. I thank you.
To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZFM Stereo /ZFM Stereo. It's ZFM Stereo Talk.
We are always moaning about the state of our roads. Your Worship, Bernard Manyenyeni, thank you, sir, for coming through to the program. Are you receiving money from Zinara? And if you are, what are you using it for?
The crisis we are facing in the last 2-3 years around potholes, firstly, it's not a problem of one city, and secondly, it's not a problem of last year or the year before. It tells the story of the 8 or so years that funds have gone to Zinara and they've not come back to the roads. That's why we are where we are.
The talk that gets you talking, Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m.
The platform. Step up and speak up.
So just before the little break we had there, that was the voice of the Minister of Information, Communication, Technology and Cybersecurity, Supa Mandiwanzira, as he spoke about the effects that having this National ICT Policy will be, as well as the Zim ICT Innovation Drive, both of which are launched today in Harare by the President, Emmerson Mnangagwa, who we will hear from in a moment. Just to read some of your messages here, somebody says, all talk, no action. That is the Zimbabwe way. All talk and eat and drink. Somebody says we want action on the ground, not just talking and talking. So hopefully that gets through to the implementers in as far as that is concerned. Remember, or rather, I didn't say this, but at the top, at the end of the show, I want to read all your messages. So send them through as your reaction to the speeches. What do you think of the issues that were raised there? I think there was one just looking at a reaction on Twitter on the issue of that young people want the future. That's what they're more interested in the future. As someone says we also need to respect each other. We're not kids who need monitoring all the way. So in as far as that is concerned, that is just get in touch with us on Twitter at ZFM Stereo, on Facebook, facebook.com/ZFM Stereo. On WhatsApp is 0731 168 Just before I get into the speech, just to say at 8:30 we'll be having a special edition of Health Matters. We'll be talking to the Zimbabwe Hospital Doctors Association on the update on what's happening with the strike that is currently taking place, the strike by junior doctors, which started on the 1st of March. So that's coming straight after this program. I'll be having members of that particular organization. But as eloquently introduced, we're going to play a clip, or rather the full speech from the President of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, at the launch of the National ICT Policy and the Zimbabwe ICT Innovation Drive in Harare earlier today.
Our Director of Ceremonies, the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs for Harare Metropolitan Province, Honorable Miriam Chikukwa, Minister of ICT and Cybersecurity, Honorable Supa Mandiwanzira. Other ministers here present, senior government officials, the Porters Board Chairman, Mr. Ozias Bute, and other board members who are present, the Porters Director General, Dr. Gift Callisto Machengete, and the Porters Management and the staff who are present, captains of industry, innovators and students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. It is my singular honor and privilege to have been invited to launch our country's information communication technology ICT policy. This policy will undoubtedly provide strategic direction and guidance for sustainable national economic development through the systematic and coordinated application of ICTs. The ICT policy is thus aimed at transformation, growth, inclusiveness, sustainability, innovation and partnerships in the mainstream economy, and puts in place institutional, legal and regulatory frameworks in order to achieve its intended goals. It is therefore emphasized that all sectors of the economy and the society at large will harness the power of ICTs for the development of our nation. Allow me at this onset to acknowledge and pay tribute to all stakeholders in the ICT ecosystem for the advances realized in the electronic communication sector, particularly over the last decade. Our mainstream communication technologies have over this period become more pervasive and accessible with a penetration rate of about 95% and a geographical coverage of close to 75%. This picture puts us in a strategic position in the context of other developing countries, and more importantly, demonstrates Zimbabwe's potential should an ICT-centered development path be adopted with dedicated commitment by our country. Furthermore, ICT must be viewed as an economic enabler for the development and establishment of sector-appropriate solutions with comprehensive breadth, depth, flexibility, and applicability. To this end, the importance of this policy will go a long way towards making the information technology revolution the basis for ultimately transforming Zimbabwe into an e-society. The ICT sector is also integral in the establishment of environment that encourages networking of services and applications, promoting e-commerce and trade for goods and services, promoting internet digital content, establishing e-government, promoting education and online services, strengthening network security, as well as building and developing an ICT human resource base. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, government is making great strides in the use of ICTs through efforts and investments in ICT backbone infrastructure, ICT education, research and development, the expansion of community information centers, as well as ICT governance, and the training of government officials in ICT usage. My government remains committed to speeding up the implementation of e-governance, which will enhance communication services between government to government, government and business, government and citizens, government to employee, as well as the back office processes to smoothen interactions within the entire government machinery. We recognize that e-government will ensure that services are available to citizens in a convenient, efficient, and transparent manner. In addition, e-government will help in the eradication of corruption through automated systems which remove bureaucratic impediments and bottlenecks. I therefore exhort government, ministries, departments, agencies, and parastatals to prioritize ICT solutions in their operating systems. I further challenge our government ministries and departments to spruce up their websites to make them more interactive, responsive, and reflective of the current impetus under the new dispensation. Let us all, in our image, actions, and service culture, reflect that it is a new era and Zimbabwe is open for business. Ladies and gentlemen, ICTs as a primary driver of communications and network technology allows for greater financial inclusion and savings in the financial service sector. As such, investment in the ICT sector will undoubtedly have a transformative impact in our quest for economic growth, employment, and a broad-based empowerment. It will further improve economic efficiency and productivity, as well as the drive to modernize and mechanize all our economic subsectors. Information communication technology in agriculture will result in the development and application of innovative solutions in the agriculture sector. Through ICTs-based solutions, farmers and agricultural producers can more easily access relevant and timely information for the acquisition of quality seeds, credit and insurance, water supply for irrigation, to livestock care and market prices. The adoption and proper utilization of ICT solutions will lead to increased yields and the quality production of goods and services, thereby contributing to the rise in our GDP. I therefore call upon all concerned stakeholders to maximize on the expansive possibilities in the new ICT era for enhanced productivity in crop agriculture, animal husbandry, poultry, and wildlife conservation. Ladies and gentlemen, our country has of late witnessed immense growth in vehicle volumes, resulting in traffic congestion, loss of productive time through delays and needless loss of life as a result of accidents. I urge those in the transport sector to consider ICT-based transport management systems and applications that monitor, optimize, and administer operations to improve road safety, vehicle control systems, and the user convenience. The integration of ICTs in a highly globalized world is an essential ingredient for success in the tourism, travel, and hospitality industry, as ICT solutions facilitate individuals to access tourism products and information from anywhere at any time through, for example, destination information, online reservations, and payments by both local and international consumers. I therefore exhort local players in the tourism industry to increase the use of ICTs in their businesses to grow their sector and expand their market base. The importance of ICT in education and e-learning cannot be overemphasized, as it increases access by reaching a larger number of learners and professionals in multiple sites through the development of relevant and high-quality open and distant learning resources. Government will, in this regard, continue to support e-learning in the education sector to increase knowledge, creativity, and innovation among all learners at every level. Meanwhile, I challenge those in the education sector to also deploy ICTs to advance and inculcate national identity, values and ethos, as well as in defense of our national interests and cultural heritage. In the same vein, we must always be alert to the need to protect the young and the vulnerable from the vices associated with ICTs and the threat of cyber crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, the launch of this policy will indeed open more doors for business, not only for international partners, but also for Zimbabweans who are endowed with the talent of innovation and those who are contemporary business models centered in ICTs. The ICT priority of my government as we seek to modernize and revitalize our ICT policy framework and the structural competencies in order to ensure improved market competitiveness of our nation's products and services in the global market. Through the modernization of our ICT policies, we believe that we can create a conducive environment that attracts and fosters both foreign and domestic investment in the ICT sector and the economy at large. Distinguished guests, this policy is therefore a foundation to further reforms that are meant to respond to the fast-changing technological environment involving trends and needs on the part of consumers. The policy also has inbuilt stabilizers to ensure that it remains relevant for the next decade as it is both technology and service neutral. In line with our empowerment thrust, the policy seeks to accommodate small and medium enterprises and SMEs who may want to play a role in the provision of digital communication systems. In this regard, through the proper implementation of this policy, the ICT sector in Zimbabwe will contribute towards job creation and economic growth as it will address the digital divide characterized by highly unequal access to the use of ICT. For instance, as I moved around at the expo outside there, our young people, very innovative, creating facilities we never dreamt of 60 years ago when we were their age. I feel very proud of our young generation. My government recognizes the critical importance of domestic innovation in today's national economies, as I've seen today. We as government should be able to provide supportive measures as well as funding to support the young people in their quest to increase and modernize methods and systems to increase and grow our economy. Accordingly, it is imperative to foster innovation at national level and to mitigate unsustainable dependency on external innovations as envisaged in Goal 9 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Innovation indeed allows governments, civil society, and the private sector to work together, develop ICT solutions to foster knowledge sharing and collaboration on social innovation. Furthermore, innovation is an essential part of a thriving ICT sector, and more broadly, a thriving economy, enabling business to develop ICT solutions and compete on a global scale by creating jobs, wealth, and economic growth. It allows states to improve public services and transform their public sectors through innovative ICT solutions. For instance, I was talking to my minister, Supa Mandiwanzira. Just yesterday in Cabinet, we were discussing some issues in relation to education. And our conclusion, which I want to reveal, is many years behind the solutions provided by the young kids I have seen this morning. So we are going to revise our decision next week. In line with global trends where governments and policymakers across the world are moving beyond traditional ICT and a broad and focused policies towards domestic digital innovation, I pledge that my government will avail the right levels of stimulus to ensure that Zimbabwe moves beyond the consumptive use of ICTs to a phase where ICTs will be predominantly productive and transformative for our economy. In this vein, I would like to commend Porters, which has taken a cue from leading nations in ICTs by availing funding for startups to young innovators, some of whom we are recognizing today. I challenge other stakeholders equally support tech innovations in our country through availing requisite funding, sponsorships, and mentorship programs. In conclusion, let me exhort all participants, stakeholders, and Zimbabwean innovators within and outside the country to make use of the new ICT era and develop homegrown ICT solutions and innovations to address our aspirations for today and the future. ICT is the in thing for the future, and the future is yours, younger generation. We are only preparing an environment where talent can be rewarded and they can excel. With these remarks, I declare the new ICT policy and innovation drive officially launched. May God bless Zimbabwe. I thank you, Tatenda Siavone.
To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZFM Stereo. /ZFM Stereo. It's ZFM Stereo Talk.
Honorable Esau Mupfumi, we are always moaning about the state of our roads.
The reason why the government decided to take over the collection of license fees, our councils mostly, they are corrupt. I'm sorry to say that. And that money meant for road repairs was being channeled towards payment of salaries and other things.
The talk that gets you talking. Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m.
The platform. Step up and speak up.
Yes, just before the break was the voice of the President of the country, His Excellency Emmerson Mnangagwa, speaking at the launch of the National ICT Policy and Zimbabwe ICT Innovation Drive that was happening earlier in Harare. The event was attended by a wide range of innovators as well as key players in the ICT industry. And essentially, I think some of the big points that I picked up from when he was speaking was the fact, right at the end he says, we're building this for you. I want to talk about the young people so that you can decide how the future is going to look. And also I think a key issue that he brought up is to say if we create solutions from Zimbabwe, they will mitigate against us being overly reliant on technology from outside the country. And the reviewing of decisions are saying that some of the technology that we decide to use, and you find out what the young innovators in this country is up to, you find that you said some of the things that government had decided were probably a couple of years behind what the young innovators were doing. So he's bringing the young innovators into the conversation and being able to make money and create a living as well as to improve the economy. He mentioned the fact that ICT had been critical towards financial inclusion, especially in the financial services sector. So it would be critical to invest in ICT in order to be able to build the economy and have a transformative effect on the economy and as far as that is concerned. Now, my name is Kwirirayi. ZFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town.
Connect with ZFM Stereo via Facebook on facebook.com/ZFM Stereo.